Hey, what's happening? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here. I am Chris, and you are listening to the world famous Cool Cars with Chris. And on today's fantastic episode, this episode was recorded entirely live in Studio CB. That's right, Studio Courage's backyard. Yeah, we are doing the show live from the backyard once again. Such an amazing studio to be at. Such a chill vibe. I love it so much. But today, Courage took his car to the street legal Dragway. It is like a 330-foot like raceway. You pay money, you get to race. He's going to tell us all about his experience there today, what it's like if you were to take your car there, what to expect, things like that. Little rules that we don't really know about first time going, stuff like that. And of course, I do have that brand new, new to me, Nissan 370Z. And I'm going to tell you why it means so much to me versus like a new modern sports car. Why do I like this one particularly? You'll find out on this episode. And topping it off, we're talking about V8 engines. Yeah, I have a V8 in my truck. It is a Ford Roush F-150 4x4 with the Coyote V8. So we're talking V8 talk on this episode. Let's go.
Good. This is turning into the spot.
This is the new podcast studio coming from the backyard. It's a nice little setup here, aside from the toys cut everywhere. But other than that, and you got kids, you got little ones. And the backyard looks great. You got the lawn all done. It looks fantastic back here. Nice little table set up. I love it, man. I love a good backyard.
Preparing a little bit more for summer. Yeah, sorry, I was going to clean those toys up. But yeah, the kids, the hardest thing has been trying to keep the kids off the lawn now because we got the whole 2-week set period with it. So we've getting creative of how we let them play out here, but not getting to mix with the lawn. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember my little backyard. I had my old house. Kind of was very similar to this. Very similar, I mean, yeah, mine was kind of more of a triangle shape. Yours like a rectangle shape, kind of a lot. But all good. But today, being that it's Saturday, Courage himself here decided to take his hot rod and car up to the track. Now, where's this track located, by the way?
It's Paris, not Paris, France.
So he flies his car on a plane. After he runs it in Le Mans, he goes over and goes to the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
Just a nice little stop on the way back.
And it's only, it's about like a 30-hour drive. Or no, a 30-day drive or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or whatever over there. So Paris, California, it's up north of Temecula area. But how many miles? It's like right next door, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it takes me about 30 minutes, 35 minutes with no traffic. So it's pretty much all freeway. So
is it on the 215 or 15?
215.
Okay.
Yeah, off the 215.
Lots of traffic on that thing. I think it's bottlenecked like crazy.
Yeah.
Now, is it before the 91?
Yes, before the 91.
Okay.
Yeah. And so and it's pretty it's on the way to Moreno Valley, which just to throw in there, Moreno Valley had a pretty big fire yesterday.
No way.
Up there, and it was actually I looked at the evacuation zone, and it literally was right up to that little facility where the drag strip is. And I messaged the guy that owns it yesterday. I was like, is everything good? Are you guys still planning it? And it's like, yeah, everything should be good. And this morning, we looked at watch duty where we look at fires and stuff, and they pretty much had contained it, and kind of the winds are going the opposite of that direction. So they were good. But, it was a little bit of a, kind of, oh shoot, they might not be having this because the evacuation zone was right there.
Was it less crowded than normal because of this?
Yeah, this was probably the most crowded I've seen it, for sure.
I think the thing was everybody was evacuating and they just all went to there.
Yeah, we can't be home, so we're just going to go here instead. Yeah.
Well, so it's a racetrack. Now they just have what size or what length track is this?
Yeah, you can almost call it proprietary at this point because it's no other track is this short, but it's a 330-foot unprepped drag strip.
It's a parking lot, right?
Yeah, it's so sort of 8 miles already. Some people be, that's so short. So 330 is even more.
330. That's not very far. I mean, I have to measure it, but I'm trying to think how far that is. In distance, I'm trying to think. It's all probably across a normal parking lot. I would think probably size of no speed bumps are in the way or whatever. Kind of depends on like Costco or something maybe. It depends,
Yeah, I mean, just think of racing at your local Costco.
Yeah, people do donuts and burnouts in the Costco, especially in the rain. I remember a lot of rain nights.
Yeah,
there was this Walmart not that far from a station. I was delivering at, and when it rained, people would take their whatever, like their own sideshow they make in the rain because it's so easy to break loose in the rain.
Walmart parking lots, man. The statute of limitations is up on this. But when I first got my Z, actually, way back in college days, Walmart parking lot went like I'd never like slid a car or anything. Went to a parking lot, did it, and I still vividly remember that I was very, very close to a light pole coming around. But but I still like for some reason I just had the confidence that like I know where the car is. I'll still make the bend and it was fine. But I still don't know where that confidence came
once you
from.
Once you start going like in a turn and you're hitting it and you're sliding and you're just turning doing like a donut, like you're visually whipping it around, you can get a little nauseous and like kind of disorienting and kind of figure out like where am I all of a sudden? Am I close to something or not? So you do that, so you should do this, but if you ever do something like that, make sure you got plenty of space on either side of your vehicle. No cars, no kids, no people, nothing like that around because you very
don't
easily
do it leaving Cars and Coffee.
That's the place you got to do it though. Do it leaving Cars and Coffee and make sure you're like, hey chick over there, look at me, check what I'm gonna do. Hey, how you doing? Watch this, ladies. And then you just burn out, slide, and you hit a pole and you say, yeah, I was about to do that, daddy will buy me another one. I don't care.
Hold my coffee while I go do this.
Hold my coffee or whatever. Hey, later tonight, hold my beer. That's what it is. But so you went up there today, and it's been kind of warm today with the fire going on and everything else too. Went up to the racetrack. What is this place called, by the way? Does it have a name?
Street Legal Dragway.
Street Legal Dragway.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they've started kind of spinning it off a little bit now with like they actually have a street legal sideshow is what they call it.
Is that where they do, like we just said, the donuts and stuff, but it's actually all done at like a contained area where you're not next to people, right? Or like a fence line, or is it like they have like tires or something?
No, it's like the those big concrete dividers. Those
sounds harsh. If you hit that thing, you
don't want to be the one to hit it, but luckily, like your damage is contained within that your car and then the barrier.
I would have rather had like the little bumpers you have at like K1 Speed where you hit the wall. It's like plastic with like the tires. The kind of like in the spring. It's like this plastic barricade, spring on the other side of that, and
you
like
just do a
tire.
Mario Kart, just bounce,
right or whatever. But that's pretty cool. So you went up there today. How many laps did you do, or how many runs did you get to do?
Yeah, I'd say I probably did about 7 or 8 runs because they were gotten really efficient with it was a lot of people.
So how long does it take to go through each run? From like okay, I know you gotta like obviously you race it, but like when you get there, check in. Like, is there a waiting list? How's it work?
Yeah, so it's they have staging lanes. So when you first get there, you check in, you register. Which shout out to them, I was telling you before, but they actually created this. It's still a web based app per se, but they created all of the registration is online now. You just go in, put in your information, and you create a profile. So if you go to the track pretty often, you can just go to your profile, pay for your ticket and go race. But they actually have live stats now. So instead of doing printout time cards, you just go in while you're at the track and you can check your time cards and everything. And so it's a real smooth, dialed in system. And I was really impressed that they've kind of switched over so quick from just the dinosaur age of just handing you a piece of paper with your time card on it to this whole app setup kind of thing. But when you roll up, you basically register and then you go to like their staging lanes, which they have 3, they have 3 rows essentially where they kind of stage you off from the track. And then they send you down kind of the runway, I guess you can say, until you get to the actual drag strip.
And there's a tree that like a light tree, right?
Yeah.
Is it go? Was it like yellow, green? What is it? Red, yellow, green?
So it's the 2. So you have 2 sets of these small yellows, and then that tells you that you're staged. Like you come up to the line and you can see like.
So like if you're at the car wash, it's kind of like the car wash a lot. It'll be like the automatic one where like you got to get in there, but the sensors are based on where your car is positioned.
Yeah.
So like if your car is not positioned right, it'll like warn you and you have to get like right in the right spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you don't try cheating. Is that what it is?
Yeah, they want to make sure you're not cheating.
You're like a foot over the edge. And you beat the next guy.
The thing about it is it sucks when you do that because then you got to reverse back and you got to restart the process to stage properly.
Oh, so you can't just like pull it back and stop and be good. You have to like go back
you got to
up?
go back. Yeah, you got to go back, get out of the trees line of sight, and then kind of creep back into it. So some people it's their first time ever doing it, so you can't blame them. But every once in a while, you get somebody that hasn't done it before, and they got guys that are nice and kind of coaching them through how to line up and everything.
How would you know where to spot though? How would you know when you pull up? Like, how do you even know where to put your car?
Yeah, it's so as you come up, like the idea is to kind of creep forward so that you see the first light. And then you creep just a little bit further. Like really, it's like if you drive a manual car, you shouldn't really be using the gas at all. Like you come up to a certain point,
coast up
you kind of coast up, and then you wait for that first light. When you see that, that means you got probably like another couple of inches of movement, and then you'll see the second yellow light on the tree, and that's where you stop. That's
so
your
the first light says you're there, and the second light says you're
locked in.
You're locked in.
You're
okay.
staged.
Now, is this so that cars can be like equally like at the same spot exactly?
Ideally, yeah.
Okay, so they don't do the old like in Fast and Furious 1 where the spray paint on the ground and they're running across the thing.
Yeah,
and I remember that.
Well, you like Brian.
He pulled up and he pulled back or whatever kind of a thing. That's probably I wonder where they got it from. I don't know. And there's no like dude like is it Fast and Furious 3 where you like he like does this cool move where he winks at you ready, and he does this thing with his hands where he says like go or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah,
but nobody's sitting over there. I would imagine. I'm sure it's all like digital and stuff for safety or whatever and stuff.
You do have guys that are like on your sides, like kind of here and there, and they're like I said, they're the ones kind of helping you stage if you need to, and got the water, for doing burnouts. Which this is the first time. Like I never usually do burnouts when I'm there.
What's the advantage of that?
The advantage is like spoiler is that I got a set of kind of more race oriented tires. They're like really low tread wear. Pretty much track tires. Like you would never want to be driving with them in the rain. They're really low tread wear, but they have a lot of grip, and they're really hard compared to a lot of like street tires. And so those tires are ideal. Their ideal grip is when they're hot.
Don't they slip though at first though?
If you have enough heat in them, they grip really really well. Like they shout out to Toyo. They got a really good.
Okay. So you had those on the car today?
Yep. So I switched them. I got a set of cheap 18-inch wheels and threw some 18-inch 245 tires on them, and it made a lot of difference. Let's just say that.
I saw some tires in your garage. Are those your original?
Those are the original ones. Yeah. So those are the Pilot Sports that came on the car, and so they're great tires for track use, and they're even good like for grip like initially, but they really kind of fall flat when you're like for a front wheel drive car to get a good amount of power put down and for them to grip. I didn't have any issues gripping with the Toyos that I had on them. So, did
it make a difference in your time?
So when I would go previously, when I went on the Michelins, I would struggle to get, and what's good and what's bad times, we won't get into that, but I would struggle to get anything lower than like a 6.3. Like, there was one time where I got a 6.2, and that was like everything dialed, perfect launch, no wheel spin. And I was never able to replicate it. Pretty much like even my like worst runs with the new tires, I was always at like a 6.1. No matter what.
Wow, look at that.
So I know that I can crack into the 5s. Like that's my goal is to get it like sub 6.
Do you get like a trophy or a t-shirt or something?
They do have bracket racing coming up, which they actually have some money involved with that. So, that's bracket racing is interesting. I won't get into it because there's a lot of nuance, but bracket racing
like gambling or something. Is like
you come in with a pool. Yeah, there's a pool based on like how many drivers and everything, but it's not always the fastest driver that's going to win the pool. Because it's based on basically your consistent timing. So like if you're in a certain bracket, you can win a race with the car that's in a faster bracket than you, basically because there's just a timing difference in when you start and some different things like that. But it's a cool way to kind of walk away with some cash kind of here and there.
Has anybody blown their car doing this there?
Not drag racing. I mean, I guess you could say like there's some purpose-built drag cars that you have seen like kind of
like a personal car. Like someone has a personal car and they are just like going beyond red line to get that into the 5s.
Or they miss a shift or
I'd probably do that in my car.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, bang, and then you see like, smoke coming out of their hood, and then you see them just coasting to the end.
From what I've seen, like outside of the purpose-built race cars maybe having some malfunction or something, I haven't seen anybody's personal car. I did see it at the street legal sideshow, the street legal takeover that they did. Some guy had a Z and he was drifting around going
350?
heavy, 350.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And all of a sudden, like you started to hear like it started struggling a little bit, and all of a sudden, like you started seeing like the coolant ring
So
kind of chase
what
them.
was it? Was it like a rod or something? Kind of like a knocking
I
sound?
think you just overheated.
Oh,
I think he just overheated, and finally like the car just like just gave. I don't know if he blew a coolant hose,
that could have been it too.
or
Well,
something. But
you said he heard it. I was just kind of wondering if what a sound it was making.
it was like if you hear like a misfire, like when a car starts to misfire.
Yeah, I would think that like would be like a rod knocking kind of sound, maybe. Or
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if he actually really like blew his motor or anything. I think it was just. I think but again, like it's a risk you take.
Oh, that is a big risk, man. So you
sure
take a risk every time you go out there. You take a risk.
You take a risk, man, for sure. But it's a bit calculated because, like I said, I've been out there a few times, and I kind of know the car. I know like the limits, and because it's such a short track too, like you're not really like overheat. You don't really have.
Does it make a difference when it's a short track like that?
Yeah, like you're not in it. Like say in a quarter-mile drag strip, like you're in it for a while. Like you're going through third, fourth, maybe even fifth gear in some certain cars. You're like I'm at the top of second at the end of this one.
Okay, so you're just going 1-2, like,
basically, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
A lot of guys like the real power builds too. They're like maybe some of like the real purpose built like the drag racers with like the sequential shifts like
Right.
They might have like a 1, 2, 3 maybe, but
Well, you think there's the cars that you see there are a lot of them automatic.
some of them are like some of the drag cars like are
Well, I mean, like regular people's cars and stuff. Like,
you get a mix, but you do get fewer. I'd say you get fewer manuals than you get automatics.
so more automatics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also it's like hard to find a stick shift these days,
Mhm.
And I think too because you have to be shifting, using the clutch and letting the clutch out and figuring all that timing on that and everything and making sure everything's running great. That it's probably easier to get your faster time with an automatic.
Yeah.
Than with a manual. And since like with my old car had the sync rev, I think your car has sync rev too, doesn't it? So it probably helps with shifting.
Yeah.
So you make a much smoother shift than I probably could, which means I probably get a lower time.
Well, but it doesn't really help you when you're upshifting though with sync.
It does. And the other car did, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because the way the system works both ways.
Oh, so it's actually it'll bring your art. So
it'll match so when you land a gear, when you're going up shifting, it'll make sure it's perfectly aligned.
So my car doesn't do that
check
on the up. I don't think it does. I'll double check.
You have to check on that because I think I was kind of surprised by that. So I know the downshift it blips the throttle, all that kind of stuff. But I heard it works both ways. The system is within like the shifter, like somewhere inside the shifter is where the system is, and that's how it kind of knows whatever gear you're going to be going into, whether it's up or down. It kind of figures out what speed, what RPM, and it
matches.
Kinda, so it kind of makes sure that the RPM matches the thing and that kind of stuff. I heard it works both ways. So, I know it's kind of hard to tell when you're upshifting. You're running the car and you're going through 1, 2. You're going through the gears and you're accelerating. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah,
because if you're pretty good about the smoothness of shifting at an up acceleration shift is probably much easier and smoother to do normally than a downshift.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you don't notice it. Like I didn't really notice it either, but then I'm like, I read about it. I was like, oh, okay, because that's kind of makes sense.
Yeah. That's my little secret. Because to be honest, like people are kind of when they find out that it's a manual. Well,
that's probably what it is.
Yeah, when they find out it's a manual, then I didn't even know. Like first of all, it's just that Hyundai is a manual. Like they were surprised by that. But then when they kind of see, not to say that I'm like super skilled or anything, but I've really gotten pretty consistent in knowing like where my shift points are and everything. They're like, we like the way that like we hear it when it goes down the line is like pretty consistent. We thought for sure that it was an automatic. And
it could be a part of that sync. It could be part of that.
I'm gonna look that up now for sure.
The sync rev might actually be just helping you, like, just a little finesse, just a little finesse on that shift that you may not even notice. And then does yours now? Can you turn yours on and off?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try off and see.
Yeah.
So how many runs? You said 7 runs today?
7 or 8 runs. Yeah.
Now, you have to pay for each run. Or to pay for the whole day?
No, so they do a 2-run minimum is like $20 or something like that, and then unlimited is $40. So
do you do the unlimited when you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess the way to do it. Now when you do it like that, how quickly do you go from like finish the race back
to back to back. Yeah, and that's where it really just depends on the day. Like today was definitely a pretty busy day. Like
So you had a wait time?
you had a wait time for sure. I would say about 10 minutes. Like is probably like average your wait time from finishing your race to getting back.
That's what you had today?
Yeah.
What is it normally on like day you've been there before?
Like earlier, because I mean they've grown a lot in the 2.5 years they've been around. So like early days, like it was like a couple of minutes, like 2 or 3 minutes, and
Does
you're
that give
back.
you enough time for your car to like cool down and like
yeah.
Because I was kind of wondering about that. If you're like I know it's only 300 feet or whatever you said it was. I think that you still want your car to cool back down and like give it a break and kind of like before you run it again.
Yeah. You do want to have a little bit more of a gap, and to be honest, the interesting thing is because I use launch control in my car.
Look at that,
yeah,
Kurt's cheat code right there.
My little launch control helps out a little bit. Although I found out that using launch control with traction control on kind of shoots you.
Oh,
in the
so you
foot.
took it off?
So now I have to take traction control off, and that's helped me a lot.
I wonder if it'll work with my Z though. Taking the traction control off would it be a benefit to that? I have no idea.
Well, in the drag situation, potentially.
It does slip though. When it does slip, it does do its traction control stuff. And you're like, oh man, it slowed me down and whatever and stuff. So you don't want that.
You got to really, for you as well. Like you probably would want to have some stickier tires in the back if you were really trying to get like a good time, because it'll be real easy if you do you have launch control or do you just have traction control?
No, I think such a classic. I think it's like old.
We were talking
school.
about that too, which I definitely want to want you to share your thoughts on that too. But not having launch control, especially with a rear wheel drive car like that, you would probably, like, if you over rev it and just overwhelm the tires, then yeah, you're probably going to get a whole bunch of wheel spin. But traction control might benefit you in that instance. But for front wheel drive, the issue is that it'll start to cut power. And like when you're in it and you're foot to the floor, but the car is like pulling back power because of traction control, that defeat in 330 feet, that kills your time instantly.
Yeah, I think every little like microsecond
that much time
makes a difference.
Yeah.
Versus where like I guess even with a quarter mile, like everything really counts.
You get a little bit more time to kind of get that. But like you see ones where like say an all-wheel drive car races a rear-wheel drive car in a quarter mile, and the all-wheel drive car leaves them like at the start because it just has a better launch. But then but then the rear-wheel drive car, maybe it has more power or whatever.
Or like the V8 or something like that.
Yeah, like it'll start to gain on them and it'll end up winning at the end because there's just a lot more distance to overcome. But with 330 feet, like, you have situations where a high horsepower. I actually came pretty close with a Hellcat on one of the runs and I could tell like he just burned out basically at the launch, and I gripped, and so I was ahead for a little while, but once he finally got his grip, he kind of took off, and we were basically neck and neck.
So we're talking like 6 seconds here, so it's probably that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's funny you say this about the racing. Is that the other night I was coming home from work and I'm just tired. It's like 3 a.m, and these kids were in this older Mustang. It had to have been like, I'm not sure it was like probably a 95 or 97.
Oh yeah.
Ford Mustang GT.
Kind of the bubbly.
Yeah, bubbly style, all kind of beat up. And they were wanting to race me so bad. And we're at a stoplight and I'm like looking over and these kids were just revving it and they just like took off and they went to the next stoplight and they're looking at me and like, I'm like, guys, it's 3 in the freaking morning, like it's 3 a.m. I'm like a block from the house. Like, I just want to get home kind of a thing. But like, why does everyone want to race my car?
Yeah.
It's like that's what I heard about. When you have like a hot car like the Z, people want to race it.
Yeah.
People want to, like I heard that. And I remember with the other car too. Even when I used to have my Mercury Cougar back in the day, same thing. People want to race me in that thing too. One guy was on the freeway. You want to race? I'm like, oh, get out of here with that nonsense. That's dangerous to do on the street and stuff too. And yeah, but a place like, Race Legal, it's what it's all about, being legal and doing it and not getting, tickets or crashes and things like that. But
speaking of the Z, though, I did want to get some of your thoughts on just taking a trip in the Z, taking a long road trip.
Yeah, first off, taking a road trip in the Z is great as long as you never, ever, ever get any traffic.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to do. And also too, that Z, like I got to take it to another mechanic and have him like look at the suspension because I know it's very firm, very soft, but we live in a world here there's potholes and variations of like depth of the freeway where it kind of dips and comes back up and different things. And the car easily bottoms out. And if you're hitting some potholes, it's very, very stiff suspension. Very stiff. It's like bang, bang, bang. I figured out a way to get over speed bumps very slowly. That's not that bad of an issue. Even really steep ones, I do okay. As long as you go over nice and slow. You hit them hard, even like a little faster than 1 mile an hour, you're banging. You're banging and clanging under the car. And so, and the seat's like really like low to the ground. I think, well, the car's got a lot of miles on it. And I think either the last guy was a real big guy or what the deal was, because the seat feels like the entire like cushion is gone. It feels like you're sitting on the floor. Like it literally feels like you're sitting on the floor. My dad had a hard time getting in the car. So he was like, this car, so where's the handle at? I can't get in this car. It's like literally on the ground. And I think because it's on the ground, your seat's on the ground, the suspension is very, very tight, very, very, it's lowered a little bit. I don't know how low it is, but it's lowered. And it does almost give you a little nausea. It makes you a little nauseous when you take corners tight and you kind of zig around stuff. Like when I was running, when I took it the first time after the exhaust done, I took it on the back hills, back in the hills there and the twisty turns. And I was kind of like zigging around the turns a little bit and hitting them with some G's. And I don't know if it's just the whole setup is set up that way or what the deal is, but I started feeling a little seasick, like a little car sick, which usually the driver doesn't feel car sick. Usually, but I started feeling car sick. I'm driving the thing, my own car. It's kind of a trip.
That's honestly a big fear of mine, to be totally honest, because I think I told you that I get pretty easily car sick being a passenger in a car.
Yeah.
Like even like taking Ubers from an airport when I'm out of town
I
or
think
whatever.
I do too, a little bit too.
There's a certain, but like one of my fears is like for that to start happening when I'm driving, because then it's like, I love driving, I love being in the car. Like, now it's like I can't be a passenger or a driver.
Maybe because I'm still learning the car. I'm still like trying to figure it out, but like what it can do on the turns and like it's just that quick going like left to right, hitting the turns hard and like the G's and like just kind of like being in the car and you're so low to the ground. I mean, the car is great. The car runs fantastic. The engine's incredibly smooth, like all the way up the tack. It's incredibly smooth sounding engine. Now that I have the exhaust done on the car, I love it even more. I just want to I like to cruise around and just put it in neutral and just rev the engine for the hell of it. Like I do that a lot. I come to a stop and I'll just like rev the engine. I like the way it sounds. It's like its own soundtrack.
If you spot a 370Z around San Diego that tends to rev at lights.
That's me.
Chris.
That's me. It sounds great. Like it has like this real nice purr to the engine. It sounds amazing.
Nice.
And it's not super raspy, although it is droney though. On the road trip, it does drone.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I bought resonators. The guy put resonators on it because they said if you didn't put resonators on there, it would be really loud and droney. Great. So you throw the resonators on there. They did that. But at certain RPMs, at certain speeds, certain sides of the freeway, if you're going up a hill or whatever, real drone, like a lot of drone, like you have to like almost plug your ears, kind of drone.
Yeah,
but it only happens at a certain RPM in a certain gear at a certain incline or something like that, where you're kind of using the right amount of torque in the engine or whatever.
It's usually, I feel like with V6s particularly, it's usually around like 2,500 to like so between 2,500 and 3,000 RPMs.
It also depends because there's sometimes I'll be cruising on a flat road and you don't really hear it, and there's sometimes you're kind of going on a slight incline, you do hear it. So, I'm trying to find the sweet spot where it happens. If you go faster, you don't really hear it, and sometimes you do.
Or like downshift, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. So, but the suspension is very, very tough, and it's very, very low to the ground. So, it's for road tripping, there's not a lot of space in that car, by the way. I mean, it is a sports car after all. I think it's designed when they sold the car, and like their whole commercial pitch was like, we can put like, 2 sets of golf clubs in here, and like that's it. Barely. Maybe 1 set for sure. Yeah. Like, take it to the golf course, your golf clubs are in the back, and that's all you got space for.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever, kind of thing. It's not a family car, and it never really was supposed to be a family car. Or, I mean, maybe like a weekend getaway car kind of thing. You can put 2 suitcases back. Like I said, the other one I've taken, on a getaway and put 2 suitcases back there. Not a lot of stuff, like maybe 2 carry-ons and a few backpacks, and you're full. The whole thing's pretty much full or whatever.
Yeah. And I never really realized too that how shallow the trunk, basically the hatch is too.
When it comes to when the actual like window, like the door comes down, you mean?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's not very deep.
correct. Yeah, well, it is deeper towards the seats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Towards the bumper is when it kind of slopes back.
Oh,
So that's where you have to like put like the things. You have to like when you put stuff in the back, you realize you cannot go over this little lip here where the trunk meets the back, like the top of the trunk hatch meets the back.
Yeah.
This is like your line level. You can't go exceed this level because it won't close the door. Although I did see a Z or something the other day, and I don't know if it was a Z or what kind of car it was. A car like that had a hatch, and they couldn't fit whatever they had in the back. So you can see it was like jarred open a little bit like that. So that is a thing. Maybe put like a strap or something to keep it from flying open.
Yeah.
But the car runs good once you get the RPMs up, you get rolling through the gears. What I love most about this Z, about the 370Z versus a lot of cars out there, is that when I drive the car, especially now that I have the exhaust all done, it sounds great, is that it just feels very analog and it just feels like a classic sports car. Even though it's a fairly newish car, like new modern wise,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel modern wise, not like in a bad way. It doesn't feel like an old bucket of bolts, but it feels like a vintage, classic, fun sports car. But it feels like when I drive the thing. That's why I love it. Versus like the new one, which the new Z's got digital everything, twin turbos, full digital dash. The Mustangs, you can get the EcoBoost with the 4-cylinder, but they still have the full digital experience. It's like driving a video game. And your end cars, same thing. They all digital, turbo, all that stuff. A lot of the modern cars, almost like all modern cars, especially sports cars, they are all going this full digital cluster. Now, people love that, because you can do all kinds of cool things with the gauges, and you can do all kinds of different, different modes you can put it in and different things. You can see more stuff. But the thing about the 370 is that it's such an analog experience that just feels raw. There's vibration in the car. You feel vibration in the shifter. You can see the shifter actually moves when you're in high gear on the freeway and you throttle it down and you let out the throttle. The shifter actually moves.
Yeah.
The shifter from the torque of the engine actually physically moves and vibrates.
Yeah.
And so it has this whole feeling that it feels very connected to the car versus an iPad on wheels.
Yeah.
Or whatever kind of thing. And that's why I love the car.
When you brought that up, it really made me think, because some of the criticism of the last generation Z, the 370, the whole run was just that it had been going on for so long.
That is true.
With very minimal updates, kind of power updates here, some things there. But to be honest, and like you said, in kind of this day and age where everything is kind of almost feeling the same because it's using the same recipe of we want more screens, we want more power, do we turbocharge the cars, things like that. We're it's almost like now people are looking back to something that's more analog.
That's what I do. I looked at new Zs too. They're really, really expensive. I mean, I even did a comparison check. So the Z that I bought now, it's I actually found the window sticker online. I went on through Carfax. I was able to get a copy of the window sticker of my.
What was the original? The
original price, because it's only base model. It's not even like a sport or nothing. It's only base model. It was $30,000.
Really?
Yeah, $30,000 and change.
I didn't know those were that in 2016, $30,000. That was a deal back then.
Yeah, well, don't forget, it's the base model. It had the base radio, it had no sync rev, it had the basic stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
On the Z. So,
but you still got the same power as
that's the thing. Yeah, you got the
you got pretty much all the experience.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with the Zs. I remember is that unless you went Nismo, take a Nismo aside, every single Z from the base model to the touring or whatever the top in line one is before the Nismo, they all had that same 3.7 liter VQ engine.
Yep.
All same power output and everything. Now, the difference is when you go to a touring, so I think my previous Z was a sport edition because it had the bigger brakes, it had the sync rev, and I think it had the LDS differential, limited differential.
Yours does. So
this one is base. Doesn't have those things at all. And so because it doesn't have those things, it feels even more like analog.
Yeah.
It feels even more like a classic sports car because it doesn't even have those things. Although on the other car, other than the sync rev, I didn't really notice the LDS. Yeah. And
Oh, the LC,
yeah,
yeah.
LC, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
LC. I don't know why I keep saying it. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I didn't really notice that. And so maybe I was working, maybe it wasn't. I didn't really notice it. And so in the new car, did I really notice a difference? Not really. I don't know. And of course, the other Z had aftermarket radio anyways, so I didn't know if it even had like their version of maps and their version of stuff on the car. I don't know if it even had that because it had a different thing anyways. So, but it's very similar in a lot of ways. But I think the other one, I think retailed for like, I think 37 in 2011, and this one's a 2016, and it retailed for a 30.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that I decided to throw into AI asking questions about this, throw in my window sticker in there. I just curious. So like, if you were to take a brand new Z today, new Nissan Z today, compare the specs for the one I have to say a new one today, how much do you think a brand new Z spec'd out like I have would cost today?
So like your spec, like
yes.
like the base model, but with the new Z.
Correct.
Interesting. I feel like but you could probably still get that for under 40.
42.
42. Okay.
Yeah, 42. Now that's now not assuming that the dealership has markups and like whatever dealership stuff they floor mats or whatever else they add on there.
Yeah.
Onto the thing. It's kind of like the entry price, whatever, like 42 and change is what they AI was saying for like a new Z.
Yeah.
So almost a $12,000 difference or price hike versus in 10 years for the car. And it's a totally different car.
Yeah.
I get it. It's totally different, bigger. I mean, the engine's smaller, but more power with the turbos and digital everything and all that kind of stuff and everything, that kind of thing. But I just love the raw, organic feel of it. Maybe because I like analog records and like, live music and like acoustic guitars. And I like, that kind of stuff, like
just like the indistinguishable like gauge clusters of like the old like your Z and like just those analog gauges like are really cool to look at and like
and I love the big tack in the middle and it just it's like the big giant tack is what you see in the car in the speed is to the right and on the left side is like your fuel gauge and like your digital cluster, what looks like a Casio calculator kind of thing,
and then your clock and like your right.
Yeah, and one of the top three like gauges on the dash, which is like
important thing, clock.
Well, actually, it's important thing, not really important thing, and then a clock. The important thing is your oil temperature on your left, and in the middle.
Oh, in the battery voltage.
Yeah. Do you really need that? I mean, if the car is starting, obviously, but while the car's running, do you need your battery voltage going on?
Yeah.
I mean, you already know the car's on. I mean, unless you're trying to like jump another car or something like that. Which who would be jumping a car off a Z?
Yeah.
The battery. It's such a small little battery. That thing.
There's some old lady gonna be in a Costco parking lot like late before they close.
Well, tell her go back inside. They sell those jumpers you can buy.
That's it. Yeah.
Costco sells everything. I was there today. My gosh. So, but yeah, I think it's running pretty good. It does have a weighted shifter on the car, not your stock shift knob. It's got a weighted shifter. When I first got the car, when I first drove the car as a test drive, I noticed that right away. And for me, when I first drove it, it felt easy to shift, like really, really easy.
I remember you were describing that, and I couldn't quite picture what you were describing when you were saying it.
It felt loose. But not in a bad way. It felt loose, like it's as easy to like drive, kind of loose. Because when I drove that 350, it was very notchy, very tight, very like flick of a wrist going in there. Now this you can move. It has a little more play with this one, moving it from gear to gear, not so tight. Maybe because it's older. I don't know. Maybe because it has a weighted shift knob. I don't know. Maybe they remodeled the transmission or something. I don't know. Maybe it has a new clutch. I don't know. So, but everything runs fine. The oil is running great. Hasn't burned any oil in 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
It hasn't burnt any oil. That's one thing I was worried about with this car.
Yeah.
That it would burn some oil being that many miles on a VQ, but it hasn't. It's running good. It feels great. I think it's a great car.
Yeah. No, I mean, Z's and a lot of those Nissan products are actually like solid. Like, the Z's, the G,
Well, the rear wheel drive
Gs.
version, I heard like if as long as it's a rear wheel drive Nissan, I think you're safe because the rear wheel drive ones does use a VQ platform in them. It's when you get to like the front wheel drive ones, like the Ultima or
the Ultima,
or the
ones that had the CVTs.
That's the one.
Yeah,
those things are hot garbage.
CVTs. Yeah, I had it. I always tell my wife that I forget that we own this car, but I had a like a 2016 Ultima for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and it was like right around 70,000 miles. It was like it was back when like you could sell stuff on CarMax for like more than the car was worth, really, because we just had a car shortage. And, we were like, you want to give us what for this car? It was like 13 grand or something.
Is this when like the chips were like, they had issue with new cars because they couldn't get the chips in the new cars. So that's all the used cars were like getting really crazy prices for used cars and stuff. Yeah.
So we were like, at that time, it was right around 70,000 miles that's when they say a lot of times the CVT starts to have issues. We were like, that's it. Like,
take it. You want to give us this much for it? Man, what a deal. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember a guy at work had one. He had a bunch of problems with his, and then another guy had a bunch of problems with his, and they were just flooded with problems on those cars. But I remember when they first like came out, or there was an article about them coming out. I remember reading about that, and I remember like hearing about it like at an ad, or I think it was in a magazine or something. They were advertising it, saying like no shift shock, automatic, smooth all the way through, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. Wonder how they make that work, like because one thing about automatics, you get the shift shock. Even my truck has a little bit of shift shock when it shifts gears. You can feel it, It's pretty smooth, but it's not like, it's not really. It's you notice it's shifting. There's a shift.
Yeah.
I think when you get to like, because my truck has it's a 10-speed, so when you get to like, 5, 6, 7, it's pretty smooth.
You don't really notice because it's really just incremental.
You see, because on my truck in the center, you can choose to see this or not, but I always choose to see the actual number, what gear you're in. It'll like light up like 1, 2, 3, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can see, I'm in 6, I'm in 7th or whatever. And so as you're cruising, like it goes through them. Once you get on the freeway, you're moving along, it gets up to high speed, high gear pretty quickly. So when it gets to those middle ones, it kind of just goes through them pretty quickly. You just see them on the dash kind of like move from 5, 4 or whatever, go up, but you don't even like feel them, knock on wood, hope that transmission lasts a long time because I haven't heard any horror stories, but people have said horror stories. That's with any car. Any car, people will say, oh, I've heard this car's got this problem or that car's got this problem.
Yeah.
It's like with anything out there, really. So, but I haven't had anything major with this truck. It does burn some oil, though. I tell you that much. It does burn oil. I got to remember to check it around because my oil, I have one of those oil like percentage things on the truck.
Yeah.
Other truck had it too. So Ford has a system. It's like an oil life percentage on all their vehicles. And so you can go into the app on your phone or app on the dash, and it'll tell you basically when you get your oil change, you reset it back to 100%, just like your phone battery. Yeah. It just drops so often. And the way I think it works, it doesn't work off mileage. There's a sensor or something that like sees the oil, maybe sees the darkness of the oil or something. And then it like tells you a percentage based on that. And it kind of calculates like how much you drive. Because I know if you tow a lot.
I remember we were talking about that.
Yeah. It will also, even though you changed it last week, it'll show like 50%. Like I just changed it. But like I guess you use it or whatever kind of thing. It's a nice little system. So I've been using that to figure out when to change the oil on the truck. But like at like 50%, it's like down a quart or whatever, maybe even more. And so, but it takes 8 quarts of oil.
Oh wow!
In that truck. So so I have to be more.
It's a 5 liter, right?
Yeah, it's a 5.0 Coyote, and those are known to burn oil. And so, I've got I think 72,000 on the truck now.
Yeah.
It's getting up there. It's not like 100 yet, but it's getting up there. So I want to make it last. And I was driving the truck today over to your house here, and I'm like, man, I really like this truck.
Yeah.
Like
I told you when he rolled up, I was like, that doesn't sound like the Z. And I just kind of forgot that the truck exists. And I was
I haven't used it in a while. It's like I've been sitting there. It's like, drive me. You haven't driven me in forever.
Yeah.
Well, because gas is $6 a gallon. That's why I've driven you forever.
It's like, because you're thirsty. That's why.
But surprisingly, it does. I think on the highway, it's like rated for like 22 miles a gallon.
That's not bad for a big V8. Like that's
yeah. And high. Well, it's,
'cause when I had my FX45, like it was rated. It's like highway was 18 or something like
oh my
that.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but well, it's also a 10 speed, and I think it helps with that because the 10 speed helps in that kind of thing. So, but I'm like, man, this is really like I'm like driving like this is a really nice truck.
Yeah.
Like it's when I bought the thing, a lot of the bells and whistles the truck had. I'm like, do I really need all this nonsense? But it was funny. One thing that really kind of sold me on the truck. Well, a lot of things sold me on the truck when I bought it, but I think one thing I kind of liked was like it had a full glass roof that you can like sunroof, moonroof, like from front to back.
Yeah.
So you can remove it back and take the whole thing off and all that. It feels like not quite a convertible, but it feels like a convertible because you can see it through the sky and all that.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of cool. I kind of dig that. And of course, it came with the whole Roush package, which had the exhaust already done, wheels already done, tires already done, shocks already done.
It looks good. Like it's like it almost like everybody likes, like the Raptors and everything.
Right,
like
it's a Raptor.
It does kind of have that Raptor look.
Everybody confuses it for a Raptor when they see it. Oh, it's a Raptor. So not really, but okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, it's like
if you're not gonna argue with you, go ahead. You want to believe it's a Raptor, you believe it's a Raptor.
Yeah.
But that's one thing. It's like you kind of get that Raptor feel, and it is 4-wheel drive, and it has all that stuff, and it even has a V8, which is with the Raptors back then didn't have V8s other than the Type R, which is like mucho dinero.
Yeah,
and so for a lot less.
Yeah.
For a lot less than the price of a Raptor. And it tows more than a Raptor. Because the Raptors, it's because the Raptor uses their crazy suspension they have. Because they use that crazy suspension, off-road suspension, they don't have quite the same towing capabilities as a regular F-150 does.
Like we were saying, you could have towed your Z.
I could have towed my Z. I thought about that, renting a trailer and towing. But dude, you're thinking about bed gas mileage now. I can't even imagine.
Hill incline getting up
I can't
there.
even imagine what the mileage would have been. Like 5, maybe. I don't even know. Now the good news is my truck has lots of extra features, including a bigger fuel tank. It has the optional upgraded fuel tank of 36 gallons.
Oh wow, yeah,
which is a lot.
Yeah,
which is good for like if you're gonna tow something like that.
That's 3 times my car's.
Right. Well, safe to say, I've never filled it from empty. I've always taken out the half and filled it up.
Yeah.
Even when I went to Vegas, with it, I think I got down to a quarter tank maybe. But I'm not one of those people that take it down till the light comes on.
Yeah.
I never.
You're a better man than me.
I always just take it to half a tank, and then I just keep it full, whatever. I like to kind of keep both my cars full. My car's kind of full. It's a weird thing, I like to try to keep it full as possible, just because in the event that we have to evacuate or something, I don't know. I'm always this weird thing that if there's something happens. Not that I'm a kind of person. Not like I'm a doomsday bunker liver kind of living in a bunker kind of thing. It's just the fact if you have to go anywhere in a hurry.
Yeah,
and we got to go.
It's got to get gas first.
Right, the gas station's closed or the long line or whatever. I mean, it's good to have gas in your car, especially now when the gas is so expensive. I just feel like tomorrow's prices might be more expensive than today's prices.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get it today, I have a full tank, it's even better. I don't know, it's a weird thing, but I get it. I mean, theoretically, whether I buy 2 half tanks or 1 full tank, it's still the same price. In the long run,
you're just buying it at different points.
Yeah. So
one thing about V8s, which might be like a small little segue, we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about this, but we talk a lot about V8s and maybe not getting great gas mileage, and obviously these days, companies maybe not being able to have big V8s because of all of the different emissions and all these kinds of things, but Chevy basically, coming out with the Grand Sport and coming out with a bigger V8 than they've already had it seems like an interesting move kind of in this day and age.
Now, is this V8 going to be their traditional cast iron block, or are they going full? Not like a lot of the V8s, mine is a full aluminum.
Yeah,
are they doing aluminum or doing full cast iron?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. I had some stats up just kind of looking earlier.
I think the other one is cast iron, the one they use in the Corvette. I believe it. Maybe I could be wrong.
Yeah,
but they were using that for a long time, and it's actually a standard block they've been using. I think. So, what size is this new guy going to be that they're going to put out there? He says over 7 liter.
No. So that was well, I was thinking we were talking about the older. I think it was the older Z06. I think that had a 7 liter.
Okay.
But I did look up real quick though that I don't know what its overall like construction is, but it's apparently going to have forged internals as like stock components within it. So that's pretty impressive. But it's a 6.7 liter V8.
Well, I think the Dodge Charger Challenger, not the Hell, is it the 6.4 they use in theirs? I
think so.
Which
yeah.
So 6.7, not much bigger than that. I mean, listen, I don't know if you took a 6.4 and a 6.7 side by side, I'd be like, which one's bigger?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if you can tell the difference. Like looking, I don't know if you can tell the difference. The only thing is it going to fit? Is it going to fit in the car?
Yeah.
That's kind of the big.
It did always impress me back to that with the. I mean, we talked about cars with crazy motor, like 8.4 liter and a Viper with the V10.
Those are big engines.
That's a humongous. But even like a 7 liter engine in like the older Corvette, like it didn't really look like that car could accommodate something to that size. But surprisingly, they made that work. But yeah, it's interesting that that when you think of it that way, like with the Hellcat, with the Hemis, and like where they got in size, like it's not that big of a difference per se. But I thought it was interesting as I was talking about is that like Dodge has gone like a totally different direction, and they're trying to maybe come back now and put a V8 in the new Charger and everything. Whereas like Chevy already has been like killing it with the Corvette and all these different variations.
What else did they put the V8 in though? Chevy.
Really nothing.
So, okay, aside from the pickup trucks.
Yeah.
The Tahoe and Suburban.
Yeah.
We rented a Tahoe once, and I drove it, and I was like, I mean, it feels like a station wagon, a bit bigger, or whatever. I mean, I don't know what I was supposed to. I was going to expect by driving it. I was like, yeah, I get this. It's boxy. I think it might have been the 4-door version. I'm trying to remember if it was a 4-door version or not. We had it for like a weekend or whatever. I forget. We drove it around, and like I was curious. Every time I don't know if you do this. Do you do this thing where you rent a car, you immediately like look it up online to see what this thing costs? Because I do that, and I see like, okay, this Tahoe we rented. How much does this thing cost? Like where to buy? I think the price was like 50 grand ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
and I'm like, 50 grand Tahoe. Like, I mean, I don't know. And the Suburbans are like 60 or whatever there, but they're like big freaking like school buses.
I usually don't look up price unless like I'm like really interested in the car. Like if it was something I was actually interested in potentially.
Well, maybe
like,
that was me. Yeah. I think the Tahoe. I was kind of thinking like if we upgrade, from my ex-wife had an Explorer and going bigger because I remember her Explorer was a good size, but like she was always filling it with stuff and everything too. So I think it was part of it.
Yeah.
I remember I rented a Expedition once, and with the EcoBoost, I think it was fast.
Yeah.
For being like a bigger car, it felt like nimble and quick. And that's the thing with Ford. Ford's going with everything, EcoBoost, everything.
EcoBoost, yeah. And I was looking it up, and in terms of like what Chevy cars still have V8s, really, yeah, obviously it's the Corvette line right now. But then, yeah, the Suburban, the Tahoe, and then actually the Silverado, obviously that still has a V8, but the Chevy Express.
What's that?
I'd have to look that up too, but
it sounds like a car only sold in Mexico, or something like that.
I'm sure, like it's the name in it is.
I don't know.
Like,
it's funny. Living close to the border, I see a lot of these cars across the border. These weird Nissan variations.
You ever see that? Yeah, like those like weird like
variations. They're like not sold here. Trucks. I saw this Ford. They have this old classic Ford Ranger with 4 doors.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird because you don't have those. You don't have those. Like talking like the 89, like a 95 Ford Ranger with 4 full doors.
Yeah.
Weird.
The weird thing is that you instantly know like this is not from here kind of thing. Like some of them like they have different like completely different like
there's a Nissan one. There's a Nissan truck. I think it's Navarro or some weird thing like that, and it's like a weird Nissan. It's like a mini. It's not a Frontier.
Yeah,
but it's like smaller. It's like the size of like the old classic Nissans of back in the day, like that size kind of goofy thing.
Yeah,
all kinds of weird stuff. But yeah, so what's the deal with their new engine? Is it just going to be like crazy, lots of power, just like nuts?
It was one quick thing. So the Chevy Express. You ever see those like I'll show you a picture since you're here, but those like camper vanish style like little Chevy vans
that looks like a Tahoe,
kind of, but it's like it's more of like those back in the day where people just had those big old like they weren't camper vans, but they were these big, like long,
like a shell on the back of the pickup truck.
No, like it was like full on like a van. Like it was like
Oh,
it was
we
like
had
almost Chevy
those.
party van kind of
Yes,
deal.
we had. Well, we had. My parents were hippies, I guess.
Yeah.
They were into vans back in the day. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
We had like a couple different vans growing up, and they had like kind of camperish. Like the one we had for a long time, I remember had like a sink, never worked, and like a bench and a table in the back, And
Yeah.
that was like our carpool car to take kids to school. Like my mom did like
This is basically a bus, basically.
pretty much or
Yeah.
whatever kind of deal. And some people had those where it was like you go in the van, of course you got 2 front seats, and then the middle was like nothing but carpet, just nothing. And it had one bench in the back. And that was like the van. And we all piled in that thing and went to school back and forth kind of deal.
The van.
And so
apparently they still make these. Like I don't know.
well, maybe
if
it's for like retail. Maybe it's for like Amazon deliveries and like UPS style like deliveries.
Yeah.
I know Dodge had one because I worked for the freight company. There was a guy that was an independent contractor, and he had this weird Dodge van. It was kind of like not as big as a van, but not as small as like a small SUV. It was kind of like a mid-range kind of thing. It was like a cargo van kind of deal, but it was like by Dodge.
Yeah.
And he used it to like haul stuff. And it wasn't very big. I remember that. Kind of like those smaller Amazon vans.
Yeah.
But not the big one, but like a smaller one.
And they have like the Nissan has that weird box thing.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then you had like the one, even like Rivian like has some stuff now, like, their little like storage box, little like box car, box truck kind of thing. Like I think all companies like, to try and get fleet sales kind of have something that they want to have that's sort of in that range. But
I don't think Ford has. Well, maybe Ford has those vans. Ford
like the transit van.
That's what it is. Yeah. Because Mercedes has theirs and all that kind of stuff. And everything.
You see those a lot actually. Those Mercedes.
I think they're cheap. I think those are for as far as Mercedes go.
Yeah,
they're cheap.
You want a budget Mercedes? Get one of those.
But like, yeah, you can say I drove a Mercedes. Oh yeah, which one is it? The van,
the transit van thing. Like,
can you imagine that? Like pulling up to like some chat a date or something or whatever.
I drive like you flaunt your key around.
Right,
like,
right. You wear the shirt. You got the Mercedes Benz shirt, whatever, and all that. You're rolling around like it's the cargo van.
That's hilarious.
It is a Mercedes. What do you want from me, ladies? You know. Yeah. That's it. But man, dude, this has been so great, man. Coming out here today and doing the car talk, cool cars with Chris in the backyard here at Courage's house. Man, this is great, man. I really enjoy coming up here, man, and hanging out with you guys and your kids. It's been a great time.
No, I appreciate it, man. It's good having you. It's good. It's good. Just kind of to be face to face, as I know we talked about. Sometimes we don't always do this, and so it's cool to do that. And also, like I said, I just love talking cars. So
don't we all? I love driving cars, talking cars, get behind the wheel of the car, and going for a ride. And make sure you don't get car sick. That's the thing too. So you listen at home. Make sure you stay safe. Be legal. Make sure don't crash your car. I hate to see it. I hate to see you on the next Instagram reel of some kid, showing off out of a Cars and Coffee and just wiping out into a telephone pole. I did see one recently where they did that. I don't know if I shared it with you or not, but there was one where somebody like literally, they might have been a Mustang, ironically, and he like left the Cars and Coffee and just slid right into a tree or something like that. Like just leaving the place kind of thing. Yeah. Please don't do that. Yeah. And, by the way, you can check out the whole cool website, which is coolcarswithchris.com. Everything's right over there. You can follow me. You got links to everything. And, of course, I'll put links to all Courageous stuff right in the show notes of this very episode. You can go on down there, check that out, coolcarswithchris.com, and we'll see you on the very next episode.